The second iteration of the Concordia Amazonas Initiative will convene in Guyana this July to identify nature-driven, market-based, and market-led solutions that prevent irreversible damage to our planet. Guyana's rainforest, spanning more than 18.5 million hectares, covers over 85% of the country. The rich ecosystems are home to over 18,000 known species of animals, store an estimated 5 billion tons of carbon, and constitute a vital component to the Guyana Shield, which is one of the world's most pristine forests. Despite their critical importance, only 8.4% of Guyana is a designated protected area, and the last national study of biodiversity was conducted almost 30 years ago. So, to address the critical environmental challenges in the Amazon, including the lack of research, capacity building, and climate financing in the Amazon rainforest, Concordia has joined forces with Sophia Point Rainforest Research Center. Located just 2 hours away from the capital of Guyana, or Georgetown, Sophia Point is helping transform conservation in the region, and it's pivotal in advancing scientific knowledge and education for the world. It serves as a training center and field site for both local and international researchers, providing unprecedented access to pristine rainforest environments. Today, I am so honored to be joined by Conservation International Technical Director Renè Edwards, as well as Priya Maharaj, Director of the Center for Biological Diversity Studies. Both are trustees of Sophia Point and bring a unique experience and expertise as to why Sophia Point is poised to address the challenges I just spoke to. So, Renè, thank you so much for being here, and we're very excited about this new partnership. As the Amazonas Initiative draws near, many have been asking, why Guyana? Beyond what we already know about its biodiversity significance, Renè, in your view, what role does Guyana play in the global narrative around climate change and driving the intersection between economic growth and biodiversity conservation?
Yeah, thank you. Guyana has and continues to play a leading role in driving the global climate and biodiversity agendas. Guyana is actually a high forest, low deforestation country with a very low deforestation rate. And in the global climate change and nature conservation arenas, as I mentioned, the role we've been playing, which is critical, is we've been a pathfinder through initiatives such as our low carbon development strategy and our partnership with Norway, where we have a payment for performance agreement with the Kingdom of Norway since around 2010. We have really been showing how a country can maintain its forest while at the same time generate revenues from that process and invest those revenues into development, human development, so building natural capital, building infrastructure, and building social capital with those revenues. So we've gone from a country that has, through the bilateral agreement with Norway, where we received funding for development in our low carbon development strategy, a bilateral agreement, to more recently a market-based mechanism where we were able to get funds through selling carbon credits, certified carbon credits through the Architecture for REDD+ transactions, which is a standard where our carbon credit is actually validated and valued. So we've been able to generate revenue from those funds. So, and this is really kind of setting the pace globally on how this could be done. Those revenues actually have are being invested in the concrete development in the ground. So for example, currently 15% of the revenue from the sale of carbon credits are being directed to indigenous and local communities for community priorities and community priority projects as part of long-term development plans. More recently, the government has announced that we're moving forward with a carbon offsetting and reduction scheme for international aviation, which is a tool to offset aviation's carbon footprint and help aviation to be more sustainable. And these are all global initiatives that Guyana is leading. There are also huge opportunities, and Guyana is also leading in terms of development, in terms of investments on the ground with other activities related to adaptation and mitigation, because we are a country that's very vulnerable to climate change.
Thank you, Renè. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much. And taking some of that international lens that you just painted out, but turning it a little bit, perhaps for the immediate, more local, but Priya, Dr. Maharaj, you'll be able to elaborate a bit more on this. Who's part of this? How has the University of Guyana and Sophia Point collaborated to transform science and education in country? Oh, and Priya, you're on mute.
Sorry, there are so many
worries.
ways. But I'll try to be as brief as possible. So the university, just to give you a little context, the University of Guyana is the sole public university within the country. And it provides many opportunities to our students to prepare for their future. But of course, there have been challenges, especially when it comes to funding and limited equitable international collaborations. So understandably, the university's capacity to study and protect our natural resources and be involved in that fully has been restricted. Now, this is where Sophia Point comes in. Now, Sophia Point provides a wonderful opportunity to develop a step change in biological and environmental sciences and provides opportunities for our students. And I'll give you just two very simple examples of how this is done. One, it provides exposure to cutting-edge technology and experts in the field of genomics. And two, it facilitates skill building when it comes to long-term monitoring techniques. Now, just having knowledge in genomics and being able to monitor the environment over a long term will have massive transformational change across the entire country. And the reason for this is simply because we're now going to be able to study our biodiversity holistically. We're going to be able to study it at a genetic level, at a species level, and at an ecosystem level. Now, you may ask, okay, so why is this important? And it's important because one, it addresses a major gap within our national data set, because there have been very few genetic studies, with the exception of most of it being done in the agricultural sector. But in addition to that, many of the biodiversity studies that have been done, which you have highlighted, has actually been more short-term, or it has been done a long time ago. So there is no long-term data set for us to really see trends in what is happening to our biodiversity. So it's critical, and it is critical at this time so that we can understand what is our biodiversity, how we can protect our biodiversity, and truly get to the nitty-gritty of how it is changing and what we must do as it changes. Now, what does this do for us? It really helps us to make informed, data-driven decisions and even have those discussions around guidance on how we can treat with our biodiversity. And this entire need for developing skills and knowledge and expertise is not just something that has been recognized by Sophia Point in the university. This is something that has been identified nationally by our government. And rightfully so, in the low carbon development strategy for 2030, there's a need for increased capacity at a scientific level to inform conservation decision-making. So the university and Sophia Point are therefore key delivery partners as we recognize our national needs and we can deliver real conservation outcomes. Because what we're doing is that we're training and equipping future leaders and researchers in conservation. Because honestly, the generation to come are our stewards for the environment.
As Senior Director of Partnerships at Concordia, I couldn't be happier to partner with Sophia Point for all of the reasons that Renè and Priya just outlined. Meeting both the market demands, but also the scientific needs that underpin and help us evaluate or measure out those market-based solutions is essential for a country like Guyana, which represents so much opportunity for other nationalities to adopt new measures and to meet their own 2030 goals. We know the criticality of the Amazonas region for the international world, and it is just amazing to be able to take a small select group of Concordia community into Guyana to better learn about the progress and the exciting moments that are taking place in country. So, Priya, Renè, I really look forward to meeting you both in person, seeing firsthand what Sophia Point represents and the knowledge gaps that it is filling, and learning about all of the different opportunities that the country is undergoing. It's a masterclass in biodiversity conservation, to be sure, and we are so happy about this partnership. Thank you both, and have a great day.